start with an intense, reality-grabbing statement. Everything you've been told about your limits is a lie, and everything that hurt you, it stops here. Suggest the secret to total emotional freedom. I'm about to show you why nobody can ever hurt you again, and why you hold all the power. Encourage action without hesitation. If you're ready to stop letting the world hurt you, do this one thing right now. It changes everything. Everything you think you know about pain and limits is a lie. From the moment we are born, society, people around us, even our own fears, teach us that pain is unavoidable, that hurt is something that happens to us, that our boundaries are defined by others. But the truth is far more shocking and liberating than anything you've been told. The moment you realize that the power to hurt you has never been in their hands, your world shifts. Cold shock is not just a dramatic tactic. It's a sudden jolt to the nervous system that forces attention, that cuts through the noise of excuses, complaints, and conditioned responses. It is the wake-up call your mind has been waiting for, because until you face the raw, unfiltered truth, you are vulnerable. Pain is not a gift given by others. It is a story you tell yourself. The words they speak, the actions they take, the betrayals, the insults, the rejections, these are all neutral events until you assign them meaning. When you can pause, observe, and strip away the narrative, the sharpness of the sting disappears. Imagine someone cuts you off in traffic, ruins an opportunity, or mocks you publicly. In that instant, your body reacts, your mind spins, your heart races. That's the lie working. That's your attention being hijacked. The cold shock is realizing none of this has to control me. It is a deep, visceral recognition that external circumstances have zero power over your internal state unless you allow it. The people who hurt you, the situations that seem catastrophic, the memories that haunt you, they are powerless unless you feed them energy. This awareness is not passive, it is a declaration. You are no longer a victim to circumstance. You are no longer prey to the opinions or actions of others. This realization, this jolt, is the first step toward building a fortress around your mind and heart. Once you understand that the shock is not external, but internal, a recognition of your own control, you step into a state where hurt loses its definition, where fear loses its hold, and where the world can try to hurt you, but it fails every single time. The cold shock awakens you to the truth. The power has always been yours. Once you've felt the shock of realizing that nothing and nobody truly has the power to hurt you, your mind craves answers. That's where the tease comes in, the irresistible question dangling in front of you. How can this be true? How can I exist in a world full of betrayal, criticism, and pain without being damaged by it? The tease is not about creating suspense for fun. It is about awakening your desire to reclaim control. Your brain has been trained to seek validation, protection, and certainty from outside sources, and the tease disrupts that programming. It forces your attention inward, toward something you already hold but have ignored: your power. You've been lied to, and you feel it in your bones. The payoff, then, is the revelation that shatters old patterns and replaces them with an unshakable truth. Nobody can hurt you because the lens through which you experience life is yours to command. The world can throw insults, betrayals, and obstacles at you, but these are mere shadows on a wall. They only have shape and significance because you allow them to. The payoff is not abstract, it is visceral. It is the moment when a harsh word slides off your consciousness like water off steel, when a betrayal no longer triggers panic or rage, when a memory that used to haunt you loses its grip. That is the power you've been teased with. The tease motivates your mind to engage because it promises a transformation so profound that life itself feels lighter, freer, unchained. And here is the subtle brilliance. The tease, payoff sequence plants the seed of action. It whispers that the method exists, that freedom from hurt is not a fantasy, and that by mastering your inner lens, you create emotional immunity. The payoff is the mental click when you see that everything you feared could damage you actually strengthens you, if only you allow it. This is the moment where curiosity turns into commitment and attention turns into empowerment. You are no longer a passive participant. You are an active architect of your experience. The tease excites, the payoff proves, and the mind that experiences both begins to understand an essential truth. Hurt only exists if you consent to it, and once you withdraw that consent, freedom is inevitable. The engagement spark is the moment where your audience, or in this case you, moves from passive observation to active introspection. It is the point where curiosity becomes personal, where the concept stops being abstract and begins to resonate with lived experience. Imagine for a moment the last time someone hurt you, a harsh word, a betrayal, a dismissal. Feel it, the tension in your chest, the racing of your thoughts, the emotional sting. That memory is powerful because it is real, and real pain is unforgettable. The engagement spark leverages this memory, not to dwell on it, but to illuminate the truth that will free you. Here's the subtle genius. When you invite yourself to revisit the exact moment of past hurt, you create a natural contrast between old vulnerability and potential empowerment. You see, pain only has potency when your attention fuels it. The spark occurs when you realize that the same energy that once fed your suffering can now be redirected. This is not a motivational platitude, it's a neurological shift. By actively engaging with your memory of hurt, you create a mental rehearsal for resilience. You are essentially telling your mind, I can feel this without it controlling me. That is the spark. It awakens the parts of your brain that crave action and resolution. The engagement spark also works because it is visceral. Your body remembers the hurt even if your mind has tried to suppress it. By confronting it deliberately, you reclaim authority over your emotional response. You are no longer a passenger to circumstance, you are the pilot. And in this spark lies transformation. The understanding that no matter what the world throws at you, your inner response is yours to control. This engagement is the bridge from insight to action. Without it, knowledge is inert, potential is wasted, and hurt continues its silent reign. With it, every past wound becomes a lesson, every challenge a chance to practice immunity, and every interaction a test of your unshakable stability. The spark is simple, yet profound. When you actively engage with what once hurt you, you dismantle its power brick by brick until nothing and nobody can ever hurt you again. It is the ignition of freedom, the moment when your mind says, I will not be broken by what is outside of me. Reclaiming control is the pivotal step where understanding transforms into power. It's the realization that while you cannot always dictate what happens in the world, you are the absolute master of how you respond. Most people live as if external circumstances have the final say over their emotions, letting every insult, betrayal, or disappointment hijack their mind and body. But true control begins with a simple, shocking truth. Nothing outside of you has authority over your inner state unless you grant it permission. This is not wishful thinking. It is a shift in perception and behavior that rewires the way your brain processes events. When you reclaim control, you stop reacting impulsively. You pause, observe, and make deliberate choices about your attention and energy. Someone yells at you, your mind is free to decide whether to absorb it or let it pass. A betrayal occurs? You are no longer bound to the narrative of victimhood. You can extract lessons, redirect energy, and maintain emotional equilibrium. Reclaiming control is also about understanding boundaries. It's knowing what you will allow into your mental space and what you refuse to entertain. People who seek to hurt you thrive on chaos, confusion, and emotional reactivity. The moment you refuse to participate, the power dynamic flips. You are no longer prey, you are the fortress. This step requires honesty and discipline. It demands you acknowledge the ways in which you previously surrendered control, and it challenges you to reclaim each lost fragment of authority over your mind, emotions, and decisions. The process is subtle but profound. You start by observing triggers, recognizing patterns of manipulation, and deliberately choosing response over reaction. Every small choice compounds, building resilience like bricks in a wall until the fortress is complete. And here's the liberating secret. Once you reclaim control, the world can no longer hurt you in the way it once did. Insults become noise, betrayal loses weight, and fear loses its grip. Reclaiming control does not make you immune to challenges. It makes you unshakable in the face of them. It is the mental and emotional armor that ensures nothing and nobody can ever hurt you again because power now resides firmly within, untouchable and unwavering. Mental armor is the shield that protects you from the assaults of life, both subtle and overt. Just as soldiers wear physical armor to prevent injury in battle, your mind requires protection against emotional and psychological attacks. Without it, every criticism, betrayal, or disappointment can pierce your consciousness, leaving wounds that linger far longer than the original event. Mental armor is not about shutting yourself off from life or becoming cold and unfeeling. It is about constructing a resilient inner framework that allows you to process reality without being destroyed by it. It begins with awareness, recognizing the triggers that leave you vulnerable, understanding the people or circumstances that have historically caused pain, and identifying the beliefs you hold that amplify suffering. Once these are mapped, armor can be forged, mental strategies and habits that prevent external forces from dictating your internal state. This can include reframing negative experiences as lessons, cultivating detachment from outcomes, and consistently reminding yourself that your worth and peace are not contingent on approval or acceptance. Mental armor also relies on deliberate practice. Just as a shield is strengthened through repeated use and conditioning, your mind becomes more impervious as you repeatedly confront challenges without surrendering your emotional control. Visualization can be a powerful tool here. Imagining a protective layer surrounding your mind, deflecting harmful words or actions, instills a subconscious confidence that changes your automatic reactions. Another critical element is energy allocation. You have finite mental resources, and those resources should be directed toward growth, strategy, and meaningful pursuits, rather than lingering in anger, resentment, or fear. When mental armor is in place, you begin to experience a profound shift. People can insult, deceive, or disappoint, but their actions no longer penetrate your equilibrium. Pain may exist in events, but it cannot exist in your response. The mind that wears armor is steady, unshakable, and discerning. It can engage with the world fully while remaining untouched by the attempts of others to harm it. This is the essence of true freedom, the realization that external events may occur, but your inner state is untouchable. Mental armor ensures that nothing and nobody can ever hurt you again because you are protected by a fortress built from awareness, discipline, and unwavering self-command. Energy investment is the conscious choice of where you place your mental, emotional, and physical resources. Most people allow their energy to be stolen by trivial conflicts, toxic people, and past wounds, and it is this misallocation that keeps them vulnerable to hurt. Every thought, every emotion, and every reaction consumes energy. And when that energy is spent on pain, resentment, or fear, it strengthens the very forces that can harm you. The first step in mastering energy investment is awareness, recognizing where your energy is going and whether it serves your growth or undermines it. Once you see the truth, you can redirect your focus toward what truly matters, building resilience, pursuing meaningful goals, and cultivating inner peace. This is not about ignoring reality or pretending pain doesn't exist. It is about refusing to feed it with your attention. Energy investment also involves prioritization. Every moment you spend ruminating on someone who hurt you is a moment you take away from creating strength and progress. When you shift your energy towards self-mastery, the world loses its ability to impact you. The insults, betrayals, and manipulations that once drained you become inconsequential because your attention is no longer available to them. Another crucial aspect is proactive energy management, training your mind and body to conserve energy for what is important and to shield it from unnecessary drains. This can mean setting boundaries, limiting exposure to negativity, and intentionally cultivating habits that enhance focus, clarity, and emotional stability. By consistently investing energy into self-improvement, reflection, and strategic action, you create a life where external hurt has no traction. The payoff is profound. Pain loses its grip, emotional attacks bounce off, and resilience becomes automatic. Energy investment transforms your life from reactive to proactive. Instead of responding to every slight or setback, you allocate your resources toward empowerment, growth, and freedom. In this state, nothing and nobody can ever hurt you again because the energy that once fueled vulnerability now fuels invincibility. By protecting, directing, and optimizing your energy, you construct a life where emotional immunity is not theoretical. It is lived, felt, and unstoppable. Emotional immunity is the ultimate safeguard against being hurt. Just as a strong immune system protects the body from disease, emotional immunity protects the mind and heart from harm. It is the ability to encounter life's challenges, betrayals, criticisms, and setbacks without allowing them to destabilize your sense of self or your inner peace. Building emotional immunity starts with understanding that emotions are signals, not commands. Most people react automatically, letting anger, fear, or sadness dictate their actions and cloud their judgment. Emotional immunity changes that dynamic. It teaches you to observe your emotions, understand their source, and choose whether to act on them. This does not mean suppressing feelings or pretending everything is fine. It means developing the skill to remain unshaken while still feeling fully alive. One of the keys to emotional immunity is detachment, not indifference, but the conscious separation between external events and your internal state. When someone tries to hurt you, the insult, betrayal, or criticism is acknowledged for what it is, a reflection of their character or circumstance, not a judgment of your worth. This mindset allows you to process experiences without giving them power over you. Another critical aspect is resilience training. Like a vaccine, repeated exposure to controlled challenges, learning to navigate difficult conversations, facing rejection, or managing criticism builds strength and reduces sensitivity over time. The more you practice, the less reactive you become, until pain no longer sticks and negativity bounces off effortlessly. Emotional immunity also requires self-awareness and clarity of values. When your identity is rooted in purpose and self-respect rather than external validation, emotional attacks lose their potency. Over time, this immunity transforms your life. People who once triggered anger or fear now elicit calm assessment or measured response. Disappointments that would have caused sleepless nights now pass without disturbance. Emotional immunity creates a state where nothing and nobody can truly hurt you again because your mind and heart are fortified with understanding, resilience, and perspective. It is the internal armor that ensures freedom from suffering inflicted by others. The world may continue to throw challenges, but you remain unshakable, untouchable, and in full command of your emotional state. A living example that hurt is only as strong as the consent you give it.